800 years ago, in a small crumbling chapel in Assisi, a young man named Francis heard a voice. "Francis, go and rebuild my church, which is falling into ruins." At first, he thought he was being asked to repair the chapel. But as his vocation unfolded, he understood that the rebuilding God desired was much deeper. A renewal of faith, a restoration of the human heart, a reawakening of the church mission. That call did not remain in that small chapel in Assisi. It echoed throughout history and reached our modern world.
The 20th century has been one of the most dramatic periods in history. The Great Wars, the Holocaust, and the rise of ideologies all shaped the world marked by secularization and rampant atheism.
Landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions. The majority in cases from Texas and Georgia said that the decision to end a pregnancy during the first 3 months belongs to the woman.
It's not unusual to find students at UCSD or most other campuses smoking marijuana out in the open.
Hey, church, you see that thing? And God created woman in her own image.
Moral codes and theological issues have no business in the law books.
I am the child of that generation in Poland that got secularized after the war. You know, my father was the professor at the university, focused on science. My mother building a successful career in education. You know, in my house there was really no talking about God, not going to the church. And, you know, outside, we looked like a perfect family, but there was like an unspoken, hidden suffering among my parents, you know. There was something very deep. I knew that something is wrong, you know, and then later on, when I was at the first year of my studies, the worst became truth, you know. I remember I came for Christmas, and I find out that my parents are getting divorced. This moment, my world completely shattered. You know, everything just collapsed. I was devastated. I inherited this pain of loneliness. You know, I felt very alone in my life. So I continued my studies. I did my master's degree. I had beautiful fiancée, and still there was a strong pain. This loneliness, I was like, is that life? You know, I was thinking it's absurd.
I was raised in a very Catholic family in southern Spain. Faith was really passed on to me by my parents, but as soon as I hit my teenage years, around the age of 14, this faith that my parents gave me as a child was not enough to defend me from the world that was being offered to me. I grew very rebellious. I envy my brothers, and I thought that they were stealing all the affection and attention of my parents. And I looked for this love and this affection in parties, drugs, alcohol, you name it. Soon enough, after a few years, I became very depressed, very sad, and I did not know how to come out of this slavery.
Immersed in a world deeply marked by atheism and by the loss of faith, even among those who call themselves Catholic, the Church once again heard loud and clear the same call of St. Francis: "Go and rebuild my church." For this reason, in 1962, Pope St. John XXIII convened the Second Vatican Council in response to the challenges of the modern world. Like St. Francis, the Fathers of the Council felt the urgency to rekindle the original spirit of the Gospel, to recover the power of the announcement of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which alone is capable of restoring and rebuilding what has been lost and broken in our lives. With this understanding, the Council spoke of the need to restore the catechumenate for adults, which is a form of Christian initiation through which a person is, little by little, reintroduced to the experience of God's mercy in a community of brothers and sisters.
So my best friend invited me at one moment to the catechesis of the new catechumenal way. And over there, the announcement of God's love, it completely shattered this loneliness, it broke this loneliness that I felt in my life. I found myself in the little community with different people, intelligent, unintelligent, rich, poor, strange, and it was something beautiful. I mean, for the first time in my life, I experienced church completely from a different side, from a different angle, which is the forgiveness, which is love, when there are fights, and after this comes the reconciliation, which I never met at my home, Because my home, there was silence, there was this pain, and here, in this community, in the church, finally I saw what the church truly is. Today I can truly say that I am a very grateful man. My life was destroyed, was empty, was lonely, and today there is a peace that I have never had before.
At a certain point, the church found me through the catechesis of the Neo-Catechumenal Way. It was announced to me that God loved me as I was. And this for me was a revolution, because I knew that I wasn't good. I knew that I was a slave of many addictions, many things. But this love of God that was announced to me became very real when I lived it in a small community. In this small community of brothers and sisters, I began to experience the power of my baptism. I saw how God was more powerful than my addictions, was more powerful than my selfishness, than my sadness, than my depression, that there I found the love that I was looking for. So much so that this love totally rebuilt my relationship with my family, with my parents, with my brothers, whom I judged and I hated and I envy so much. Now I can say that I love them, that through this announcement of the love of God, the Lord has answered to the deep slavery that I was living and has given me a new life, a rebuilt life.
The Redemptoris Mater seminaries were born in this historical context as a fruit of the Second Vatican Council. A key figure in the opening of these seminaries is St. John Paul II, who in 1987 opened the first Redemptoris Mater seminary in the Diocese of Rome. coming from Poland, he had lived in his own flesh the devastation of the atheistic ideologies. And as Pope, he was deeply concerned about the secularization of Europe. During his regular pastoral visits to the parishes of Rome, he often met with the communities of the Neo-Catechumenal Way. And he was always deeply impressed by the large number of families with many children and the rising number of vocations.
A me piacciono i bambini. Quando vedo un bambino cerco sempre di abbracciarlo, di baciarlo. Quando vengo nella comunità catecumenale, allora ho un grande impegno, un grande lavoro con questi bambini. Grazie a Dio.
Seeing this reality, he recognized in the Neo-Catechumenal Way and in these families a way to re-evangelize the modern world.
Posso chiederle una parola sul cammino catecumenale?
Sì, sì.
È un'esperienza che l'aiuta nella Chiesa?
Sì, aiuta la Chiesa, perché scende alle radici di quello che cosa vuol dire essere cristiano. Tocca il nucleo stesso dell'essere cristiano. Essere cristiano vuol dire crescere da Cristo attraverso il battesimo, attraverso i sacramenti, naturalmente la preghiera, la vita della Chiesa, tutto, ma il sacramento, il battesimo è il punto di partenza.
It was in this context that St. John Paul II, together with Kiko and Carmen, the initiators of the Neo-Catechumenal Way, had the inspiration to open diocesan missionary seminaries to form priests to accompany these families and re-evangelize Europe. Then in 2006, amid the crisis in the church in Boston, Cardinal Sean followed this example and opened the Redemptoris Mater Seminary of Boston. And this is how the seminary was born.
Later on, also I felt the vocation to the priesthood. I was sent to the Redemptoris Mater Seminary in Boston. I never chose Boston, I was sent here by God. So in the seminary, I experienced one grace after the other one, you know. I experienced that I could really be open with my formators, that I could speak about my sufferings, about my past, about my sins, you know. They were always hidden, and that I was not judged, that I was helped, that I could speak up, building a relationship for me with the other people that I never had. I never had this in my life. Today I see that there is hope, you know, that the family can be rebuilt, the teenagers can be rebuilt, you know, and that the love also that I have received in my life, that right now I can pass on also to the others.
Thanks to this love that I started experiencing in my community, I discovered the vocation to the priesthood. And I can say without a doubt that the most beautiful years during my time in the seminary were the 3 years in which I was sent in mission, in itinerancy. I was in Mexico, I was in Utah, I was in Nevada, and this period of time allowed me to experience that the announcement of the good news could change the life of others. I saw so many families being rebuilt. I saw so many people coming out of darkness. I was a witness, and this strengthened my vocation, strengthened my priesthood, because now I have this certainty through this experience that the grace of God can rebuild anything, that the love of God forgives any sin.
Our marriage was falling apart. So we were very far away from the church during that time. We were living in hell. And for me, it was just a matter of time before I divorced him. We didn't know how to love each other. I grew up in a very feminist household. Also, I only wanted I only plan on having one child because I wanted to be successful in my career. And then I got to a point in the marriage where I was done. I couldn't take it anymore, no? I literally wanted to just throw everything out the door. It was precisely in this moment of suffering where God intervened, no? Through one of the priests of the Redemptoris Seminary in Boston, who invited us to these catechesis in the church. All of a sudden I had hope, hope that Jesus Christ could give me a new life, can change my life.
And thanks to the Lord, a miracle happened between us.
And today, we are married in the church, thanks to Jesus Christ, who has given us the possibility to reconcile with one another, to ask for forgiveness. We saw how our marriage was rebuilt. And one of the biggest miracles is that we now have 11 children, something that for me was impossible, no? And we're also now expecting happily our 12th child.
The Redemptoris Mater Seminary is an international seminary preparing men to become missionaries, like St. Francis of Assisi. Priests who have experienced in their own life the gratuity of God's love, who have seen their humanity rebuilt by God's mercy, are now sent anywhere in the world to announce the good news of the resurrection of Jesus Christ to those who suffer.
As then in Assisi, today in Boston, the same voice resounds. Go and rebuild my church.